All right, what's up, Horde? We're back again, pumping out some more. I have a very special guest today, special person in my heart, he's family. You know what I'm saying? So, he's my uncle, my dad's brother, Wayne. How you doing, sir?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Keeping busy.
Yeah. So, yeah, Wayne. As I said, Wayne is my dad's brother, and I've known him whole life. So, Wayne, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. What do you do for a living? Where you work at and stuff, whatever.
Um, I work at Ohio State Marion. I've been here for 23 years. Uh, Looking forward to retiring uh, here in the next, 8, 9 years, and singing a cover band called Triple Shot. And pretty much, other than that, just hanging out with family.
Yeah,
Got
absolutely.
3 kids, and
They're all grown now.
grandma, and yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, so like you've been doing that for forever or whatever, but like I know a lot of stuff like we grew up and stuff on has been like Ohio State related and whatnot. So like I, what are your thoughts? Because I haven't really got a chance to talk to anybody about Ohio State football since I haven't been on a certain Ohio State podcast that I left. Um, what do you think of the totality of last year and going forward for this year? Like that's a big point. I was talking to Dad about it. So
Listen, I'm a big optimist going forward, but I'll start looking backwards. And as you said, this is something we obviously can talk endlessly about because it's something we both love near and dear. I mean, I think I started following Ohio State football in maybe 83, 84. So it's a lot of freaking years, man. 40 around 40 years, 42 years that I've been following Ohio State football, and was a student during that era, during maybe the roughest era in Ohio State football, during the late Earl Bruce and early John Cooper era.
Man.
So, I remember going and losing to Indiana in a rainstorm, like really poorly, losing to Michigan a lot under John Cooper.
Man.
So obviously nothing but positive to say about the team, under Tressel, under Urban Meyer, and, now under Ryan Day. Looking at last year, that team was really, in my mind, other than, the fallback at, the team up north, which, there's reasons behind that. I think we're going to right that ship. I mean, sometimes things just happen, but looking at the season and its totality, I thought they played amazing. And, everybody talks about, they spent so much money. Well, they spent a lot of money to keep the players that they had. They only didn't bring in a lot of players. So I think the real difference between this year and next year, they were on a mission last year to really prove something, and they did. And that's about having like strong senior leadership and people that have had all this starting experience and have grown together and have each other's back. But I'm kind of hopeful that I think the talent's really there, and potentially not from a leadership standpoint, because that has to develop naturally. But look at the quarterback position. I think we had an amazing leader last year, and he grew into that position and gained everyone's respect, especially going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, I'm so shocked that he went in the 6th round. I think he was at least a 3rd round quarterback and better than a lot of the people that, got taken in front of him.
I'm just happy he went to the Steelers. Good Lord. Dad rejoiced on that one.
No, honestly, I mean, who can't say, numbers wise and looks wise and everything. I know he has had great tools to work with, but is he, better than Shedeur Sanders? Is he better than who's that crazy nutburger they took from like Notre Dame? Oregon.
Oh, Dylan Gabriel.
They're both decent quarterbacks, but I would have taken Will Howard before either one of them.
I mean, Will Howard did something no other Ohio State quarterback's ever done in completion percentage.
Right.
That's something to be said. There's not been Sautras at Ohio State at a quarterback. So
Well, and that was his gig. I mean, he's got all the tools. I mean, 6'4", 230 some pounds.
right.
He's a big guy. He's got the leadership was there, the experience was there. So, he threw for 75% completion percentage. So it doesn't make any sense to me. But really, it kind of all starts to me with some of those key positions, not the wide receiver position. I don't think we're going to see any kind of a drop off there this year. I think Brandon Ennis has been ready to go. He would have been ready to go last year. And Carnell Tate really showed, like 770 yards last year as the third receiver. So I think he's ready to be that number 2 receiver. And Brandon Ennis in the slot. I don't think we're going to, if we drop off, I don't think it's going to be much. Emeka was an amazing leader, an amazing talent. I mean, you see some of the plays. He was like instrumental in like the national championship and calling that third and Jeremiah Smith play that sealed the game.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, he's laying off that coverage, But I think we're fine there. Running back, I think we have a lot of talent, just need more experience.
Rubbering back.
Yeah, and the big thing is the offensive line. I think we're going to be as good, if not better, this year. But it all goes back down to, can the defense replicate? Yes, I believe they can. I'm a little worried about the defensive line, but I do think they've got some good end rushers. Just need to develop some, some talent at the tackle position, the defensive tackle positions. And then we need to see what's going to happen with, let's assume Julian Sayin is starting. I mean,
yeah,
the coaches know best. I'm not one of those people that question the coaches. Oh, I see this person every day. I know them, they're ins and out intricately. I watch them practice, and people questioning the coaches. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that's like, the coaches know what's going on. Let's see what they think. And they made a great decision last year. Obviously made a great decisions in the past. How many Ohio State quarterbacks have went in the draft? And, in the past years, Justin Fields got a raw deal. But I think Julian Sayin's going to be the starter. And I think he's going to have some hiccups. Hopefully not up. If he's going to have hiccups, it's going to be up front. It kind of reminds me of, I'm going to have a mental block, Tony. I'm getting too old. Our quarterback before – that plays for Houston.
Oh, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, his first year, looking at that game against Minnesota. It was rough, man, but he turned it around. We still won the game, but it was a rough game for him. So I'm hoping Texas has a great defense, as we saw in the national championship. I like the idea that we're at home. I do think he's a more polished passer, a more accurate passer. And everything I've read than Will Howard was.
Yeah. His release is ridiculous.
Right.
His release is silly. So
it's super quick. I mean, the ball's just out of his hands so quick.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But I don't know if it's the ability to process. So, we'll see what happens. But I think the floor is 10-2, and I think the ceiling is undefeated. So they're right in the thick of it. And I think they're just going to get better as the year goes on. The talent is there, and maybe even more talent. Just experience is what they need. And like I said, they've got the quarterbacks to get them through. They've got the running backs to get them through. Very talented. I'm a little concerned about the defensive tackles and no depth there, but potentially that could develop during fall camp. It could develop early in the season. You might have to play those 2 guys in the middle more than you would want to. And there might be somebody that comes in that, picks it up quicker. Who knows?
I mean, I think Edric Houston's going to be awesome there in the middle. And I don't know, the defensive line's like the one thing that I think really everybody's worried about. But I think Matt Patricia is going to do enough interesting things to keep everybody, you know what I'm saying? Matt Patricia, I have all the faith in that man. I thought it was a good hire despite all the trash he got given, you know what I'm saying?
You kind of looking like Matt Patricia right now, man.
I know. I haven't got to the barber here lately. I don't know. I have faith in all the Ryan Day hires, especially this year. Especially after last year, after losing what we lost, and now this year, getting a new. It's, I don't know. I have a lot more. I have faith, and I remember I was just telling somebody the other day about, if you remember last year when we started that season. You know what I'm saying? When we started fall camp or spring camp, like how everybody was unsure about the offensive line and nobody knew about Will Howard and all that stuff or whatever. And slowly as it went, like by the end of fall camp and as the season started, like all the offensive line's probably gonna be all right. Will Howard's probably gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like this weird roller coaster, but by the time we got to the season, it was good. And I think playing Texas first is another like I know you mentioned the Michigan game. I'm a big proponent of we don't lose that Oregon game and we don't lose that Michigan game, we do not win the national championship. Like
Right.
those two things had to happen to get us to where we were, where we looked like the team we did at the end of the season.
You might be right, and I don't necessarily think it was talent because you don't just flip that switch on talent. It was always there. I don't know if it was scheme being more aggressive. It seems like to me the end of last year the defensive line was way more aggressive than they were earlier in the year.
Yeah,
And I think that's a change up from his system in defense where he was kind of laying back a lot. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy that aggression. It reminds me of you might have been little or not born. Fred Puckage, when he was the defensive coordinator, was one of the
I remember
most
Fred Puckage.
aggressive.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of hoping that Matt Patricia is of the similar vein, where you're sending a blitz from all kinds of different places. You're not going to leave things open. You've got a great secondary to rely on back there. So if you can get pressure up front, that defense is going to be top 5 defense again. They were number 1 last year, but it was really how they turned it on at the end of the season that made them number 1. They were kind of tickling with that number 1 all season. So I think the same thing can happen this year. And you've got great defensive ends. You've got great starting defensive ends. You've got great, starting defensive tackles. Like I said, it's just developing that depth behind them, giving them a break because it's a lot of
we can't go like we did at the beginning of the season with no rotation. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to see that rotation we saw at the end of the season, like we did. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were getting people like Caden Curry and Caden McDonald and all those people in at the end of the year, where we wouldn't see those people at the beginning of the year. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to do that much earlier this year. I think it'll develop a lot more.
Right. And I think what you're seeing is you're weird. I saw Luke Montgomery at a graduation party. He played football with.
He went to Finley, right?
Yeah, they're in Finley. So I was at a grad party in Finley, and man, he's huge. He's way bigger than he was because I watched him play basketball his senior year. He's just so much bigger. The physical development, but he came on last year, and I think the center position is shored up. I don't know a lot about this new left tackle that they pulled from Rice. He seems to be big, can move, and is aggressive in his nature. So I've got to think that's a plus. And Austin Saraveld's probably going to start at that right tackle position, and they've got depth there with the guy from Minnesota on both the tackle positions. And then, right guard last year.
Donovan Jackson?
Who?
No. Donnie Jackson was the left guard. Tegra Shabola?
Tegra, yeah.
Yep.
Tegra's in I think he's going into his senior year.
Yeah, I think this is the Tegra.
So, and he was solid, through the playoffs. I think they pretty much played him there exclusively. I know they were bouncing Saraveld in there, but he was Saraveld was an Iron Buckeye along with who else? There were 3 of them: Jeremiah Smith and Sonny Styles.
Yeah, Sonny Styles. Yep.
And that's a big honor. These people are really. I think you're going to see Sonny Styles take on a lot of leadership this year on the defense.
Yeah, I think he's going to get the block
see, our all-world safety take on a lot of leadership there. So they can get some leadership from Austin Saraveld on the offensive line. I think this offensive line is one of the best potential I've seen, not in the individual talent, but as an overall with the depth that I've seen in years and years. And I think that's going to carry them a long way. The spring game, it looked like the running game was clicking. I know it was a very simple, game plan, but I'm excited, man. I think really you look at that Texas game and circle that on your calendar. And then going forward, you look at, the preseason, simple. I don't think we have any danger. There's some games you got to be careful of until we get to Penn State, but that's a home game. And I really don't think they've got the horses and the coaching to hurt us at home.
No, I think the best Penn State team we're ever going to see was last year.
Yeah, potentially. They've got a lot of people coming back. I'm not really sold on Drew Aller, if I'm being frank.
Yeah,
I've never really
who's he throwing to?
seen
That's the
him.
thing. He's got nobody to throw to, so it doesn't matter. If he's throwing to, he doesn't have Tyler Warren anymore. Like, who's he throwing to?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he throws the ball if he doesn't have anybody to throw to, and they don't have any receivers over there, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
And
Right.
like, at that point, like, we know what you're going to hand the ball to Nicholas Singleton and the rest of them. Like, okay, well, we can stop that. So,
I mean, they got somebody in.
oh, they did pick up a wide receiver, didn't they? It was
transfer portal, but one wide receiver doesn't do it. That's
No.
You just double team that guy and they're done. And
Right.
whoever they got, they're not Jeremiah Smith or
Right.
somebody that's all world where you can't cover them. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. The coaching changes are probably the biggest thing, more than even the player personnel. But if they bring aggression to everything they do, I think they're going to be fine next year, man. It's going to be an exciting season and a lot of new faces. It's going to be fun to watch that.
Yeah. I think the biggest linchpin too for me is Brian Hartline's play calling. I think he's ready. I think he's ready, but like it's going to matter how he calls and what he does in certain situations. And
I think it's challenging because you went from one of the best offensive minds of all time, and you're a first-time offensive coordinator, but he's also one of the best recruiters and wide receivers coaches that Ohio State's ever had, bar none. So that passing game is going to be on par, and they're going to bring some of the experience from Tyler Bowen being an offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech, maybe to help with that run game. But it's going to be interesting. I hope they don't change too much from the national championship run in terms of their aggressiveness, in terms of the play balance. They're always going to be balanced on run and pass. And I mean, you look at James Peoples, but also the guy that they got from West Virginia,
CJ Donaldson.
CJ Donaldson, looks like he's going to be a solid, 1A, 1B option or a number 2 option. And then they've got so much depth behind there, so much talented depth.
Them young kids are, listen, and I know like everybody's talking about Bo Jackson or whatever, but like I'm telling you, Isaiah West, that when that kid gets healthy, that kid's probably gonna be the one. Like,
you think?
I from all the tape I've seen and stuff or whatever, and just like the physical attributes of Isaiah West, like that dude is like go look at that dude's quads. They're the size of my fucking head. Like it's insane, dude. Like it's insanity. Like I don't know. Like the tape I watched, that kid is just like he has a different. It's like Travion. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just got all of a sudden where it's like and gone. Like it's so crazy. So
well, I was pretty impressed with Bo Jackson, to be honest with you.
No, I think he's going to be pushing. He's great.
And the secondary might be the best I've ever seen. The people they brought in, the people that are in their second year, with that class, and then the freshmen they brought in.
Fahim Delane and all them, like Devin Sanchez, all those
Devin
kids.
Sanchez might push for starting time this year.
Which is crazy because, like, we have Davidson Imbinosun, we have Tremaine Matthews, like Lorenzo Styles, no slouch. Like
when you've got those 2 players that went through their freshman year last year, they're sophomores. Aaron Scott,
Aaron Scott,
5-star.
Bryce West,
yes. You got all these 4 and 5 stars, waiting in the wings
when they were in there last year.
They're going to be super fresh. They can probably go 3 deep with that. And Devin Sanchez was a huge add. If they could have got that guy from Oregon, nobody would have ever been able to pass the ball on them. But that's okay. They can have their one, and because we've got a very talented. Igbinosun seemed to fix his pass interference issues towards the end of the season, so hopefully he doesn't slip back into that because that was a real detriment. But
I think that's why he came back. Like I really think he really wanted to come back and be like, listen, I get my shit together if I'm going to go to the NFL. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, what do you think about the linebacker core?
Dude, I think the linebacker core I think could be in hindsight maybe one of the best we've ever seen against the best. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking like Schlegel, all of them. You know what I'm saying? Hawk, like that whole thing, huh?
Sonny Styles in his second full year as a linebacker, man.
Right.
How much did he learn last year? How good was he at the end of the year?
He was a different player from the first 6 games to the last 6 games. Insane, dude. different player. And like, I mean, you're replacing Cody Simon and stuff, or whatever. But I think Arvell Reese is. I was a big proponent last year. I was the president of the Arvell Reese fan club last year. Like, it was just tough for him to get on the field, but like, I think he's going to be a killer. Dude, Riley Pettijohn's a killer. Eli, all those kids they brought in, TJ Alford, all those kids are all super good. They may all push for some sort of time and rotating in. Like how good is James Laurinaitis on a small recruiting class, just with not as much time as everybody else, still killing it.
Right.
You know, like he got all three of those kids in here, and like, dude, they're talking like Riley Pettijohn. When you see him run, he's like linebacker or wide receiver fast, like side to side. It's insane.
Yeah. We talk about the secondary. I was just looking through the list of potentials. You mentioned Davison Igbenogson. One we didn't talk about was who's a grad student now, Lorenzo Styles Jr.
Yeah.
He's Sonny's little brother. Probably looking at that nickel position that Jordan Hancock played last year.
Yeah, him and Bryce West probably.
He's solid. He was a starter for Notre Dame a couple of years ago when he was there and played quite a few snaps last year. Sanchez, prototypical 5-star, 6'2", 185 pounds. But yeah, Aaron Scott, Bryce West, you mentioned. And there's also Miles Lockhart.
Miles Lockhart. Yep.
Yeah. So it really is definitely solid, 2 deep all the way through there.
And you got Caleb Downs back there just directing everything. You have one of the smartest dudes on the field at all times, just out there directing and doing stuff. And I think Sonny's picking up the mic position or whatever, like the way he has, I think will help free up Caleb to do what he can in the back end and do more where he can be more down by the line and stuff, whatever, and have Sonny direct traffic in the middle.
Right.
So
when I forget about the defensive line, I mean, we still got, Taiwan Malone has played a lot of snaps. He could be, he's going to be great. Caden McDonald is probably looking at starting, I would assume.
Yep. Caden Curry.
Jason Moore's a junior. He just needs to put it all together and turn it on.
You've been hearing about Jason Moore for a couple of years.
Maybe Eric Mensah in his second year. There's a lot of names here. Will Smith Jr. But the ends, what's that?
They said Will Smith Jr. is coming up pretty. I've heard good things about Will Smith Jr. Which,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, his dad was a gangster, so.
But obviously, Edric Houston's going to be a full-time starter. Caden Curry on the left side, and Kenyatta Jackson on the right side. Probably, I'm going to say true speed rushers, but also they've got some size on them, 260 and 258.
Dude, and Kenyatta's a killer, bud. That kid's so fast, man.
You look at that national championship run, man. He was in there quite a bit. I mean, I know we had our standard starters. And look, people give those guys a hard time, but I think it was more the system than anything. And remember them when they were talking about infighting between the defensive coordinator
and Larry Johnson and stuff.
Yeah. Logan George is another one. I don't know. He's 249, 6'4", but he's got a high motor. He looked good in the spring game. It'll be interesting to see if he can make that transition from Idaho to Ohio State, because that's a big difference, So
we got that one kid too, that Bo Atkinson, right?
Oh yeah. He's not even on the roster right now. You look down the roster, he's not even on there. So you throw him in there. He definitely is somebody that the defensive in depth I'm not worried about anymore. Because I think Caden Curry was ready to be a starter last year. I think Kenyatta Jackson was ready to be a starter last year. The defensive ends I don't worry about. And then you add Logan George and, Bo Atkinson.
Bo Atkinson, yeah. Like the whole thing is like, get people to eat up, like run blocking and stuff or whatever, the way Tyleek did or the way Ty Malone did or Ty Hamilton did. Like those dudes ate up the middle, and then Tyleek was so fast. Like that man's 330 pounds and is running people down. Like,
from behind, yeah.
Like Jesus, dude. Like I've never seen that man move fast in my life.
Yeah.
So.
The crazy thing is, too, I mean, I think they have the ability to make a deep playoff run. I'd never say, they're going to win the national championship for sure. But I think they've got as much of a chance as anyone, especially when you get a whole season under your belt with some of these young guys. Thing is, they don't lose much next year. So we're looking at really like a 3-year greatness for Ohio State. You knock out a Michigan win in there, you go deep into the playoffs at least. But CJ Hicks, we didn't mention him. He's going to be a rotation.
Yeah, they've moved him down to kind of the jack position or whatever. So like, just I don't know where they're gonna put him, but like I'm sure Matt.
I don't think they're going to run that jack position anymore, man. I think they're going to go back to traditional defensive ends. They might drop them back into coverage, but he's great at rushing the passer, and they just moved him that position. So this seems to be more of a natural position for him. And then we were talking about linebackers. I won't mention Riley Pettijohn. He's going to be amazing. He's a freshman, but Peyton Pierce looked real good.
Yeah, Peyton Pierce. Yeah, I think Peyton Pierce was teammates with somebody, either Riley Pettijohn or somebody else. They went to the same high school, I think.
Let's see, Lucas, Texas.
Maybe it was Gabe Powers.
McKinney, Texas. They're both from Texas, so
I think they knew each other or something like that. But like,
right.
Yeah, because I think Riley Pettijohn was talking about when he came up for his visit and stuff, walking out there and seeing people he knew on the field. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was kind of like the distinguishing factor of like, oh, I know that dude. I played with that dude. You know what I'm saying? That sort of thing, where he felt like he was at home. So, yeah, I think it's cool. Like if you think about the last 2 years from the beginning of the Kyle McCord season to this year, like how the narrative has changed so much on Ryan Day and everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
The roller coaster ride that it was with Kyle McCord. And then it felt so like last and failing. And then we had the Missouri game and it was like the lowest of lows. And we had the big upswing at the beginning of the season last year. And then the Oregon loss. And then, back up and the Michigan loss. And then what was the most historic playoff run ever. It was like, good Lord, dude. But Ryan Day in one season rewrote the entire story about him. He couldn't win the big game. He can't get over the hump. He can't coach a team in adversity. He's always going to lose to Michigan. And somehow he came together when nobody thought he could.
Yeah, Ohio State basically beat the entire top 10 last year. There might have been a team or two that they missed.
I think we beat seven out of the top 10 teams at the end of the year, 7 out of the AP top 10. So that's insane. And 4 of them right in a row.
Right. And to be honest with you, I don't know that minus a couple bad calls, they don't win that Oregon game.
Yeah, I think
the home game or different refs. I mean, it was that close. He looked like he was down to me to kick that field goal. They looked better. Oregon's a tough place to play. They're not on the schedule this year, though, right?
No, I don't think they're not. We don't have them this year.
So looking ahead, some of those games you don't think about that might be tough. We've got Wisconsin this year. We've got Illinois this year. Illinois is getting a lot better, and the recruiting is going.
Yeah, the Illinois game kind of scares me.
Yeah, that game kind of scares you. It's been a while since we played them, man. I've seen some great Illinois teams in the past. So
we one of them lost to Juice Williams that one time, and I'm shook since then.
Illinois schedule. When do they play Ohio State? Hopefully it's later in the season, October 11th. So, and it's at Illinois. So, that game's a little scary, but for talent, I think we're a better team, and that'll give them time to get their feet under them, with the, all the preseason games and playing Texas early on and so forth. So, and then what else is on the schedule that looks scary? Not Grambling State, not Ohio. Washington at Washington could be a little, dicey, like 14-14 going in at halftime, but I don't feel any issue with that.
I don't know. Yeah, Washington doesn't have the talent to stick.
Those 3 road games: Wisconsin, Illinois, and Washington.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Minnesota's homecoming. It's at our place. Penn State's at our place. UCLA at our place. We go to Purdue, and I know they've done things in the past, but Ryan Day seems to win those.
I was just saying, I think he broke the urban curse of just losing random games to people we shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going to see here in a couple of weeks what kind of damage is done to Michigan when all of these NCAA sanctions happen. And are they going to rally around the team and be amazing? But I'm not convinced they have the right people at quarterback still yet. Why didn't one of those people start last year? And they've got this freshman phenom 5-star, but he looks a little chubby. He's not hitting passes. He didn't
look horrible in their spring game.
Yeah. He's a true freshman. You're counting on that to save your franchise.
Right.
I'm not seeing it.
That's like if I mean, listen, I love Tavian St. Clair, and I think I wish. The sad thing is we probably won't get to see Tavian St. Clair play much ever at Ohio State, just because Julian Saint's probably going to be the quarterback for the next 2 years, and then maybe they'll turn it over to Tavian. And it's like, okay, well, cool, like, but we got that kid coming in next 27 or whatever.
Brady Edmonds.
Yeah, that kid. So it's like, who knows? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think I like the story of Tavian. Like, he's a big prototypical dude. He's like 6'5", looks shredded. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he just, I think he just gets the grasp. I mean, because he's coming from Bell Fountain, and like that jump from Bell Fountain level football to Ohio State, it's like, oh, whoa, that's like playing soccer before. You know what I'm saying? It's not even the same sport. So
he's physically got all the gifts. I mean, once he got his feet under him in the spring game, he looked pretty darn good. And as a true freshman, you can tell if they're going to, be anything later down the road. And he definitely looked like he was going to be something later down the road and looked better in the spring game than who is that Michigan guy? I don't even.
Bryce Underwood?
The quarterback that they got, the freshman quarterback.
Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the whole thing. Think about the weapons. If it came down to like, oh God, we have something happened, unfortunately, and we have to start Tavian St. Clair. Like, he's got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and like he's surrounded by complete weapons. Who is Bryce Underwood thrown to? Samaj Morgan? Get out of here! Like, get out of here! That's you think Samaj Morgan and Bryce Underwood are saving the franchise? It's over.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But that aggression they picked up last year, man, that was really the difference in the season.
I think like Ryan Day walked out of the Michigan game and into the playoffs, and when he walked through that door into the playoffs, like he walked in there a different man, and like he came out a killer. And it's like I told something like, listen, if Ryan Day ever goes back to pussy Ryan Day, I'm done, because I watched that man be a real live killer.
A lot of that was, the defense that he put in last year was laying back. It wasn't the offense, but yeah, we became a lot more offensively aggressive and open up that playbook a lot more. So there's a rumor that Will Howard had a concussion during the Michigan game.
I would believe it. Like
so that would explain a lot.
It would. I don't know. Either way, like it's as sad as I am still in my heart over all those Michigan games and the one last year. Like, I truly believe in my heart of hearts, like the changes that needed to get made would have not got made unless we fucking learned those lessons of losing those games, right? As much as they hurt.
And that's why I love this system a lot more, because you're not penalized. And people like go on and talk about Oregon and how unfair it was to them because they were 13-0. They were number one. They got that bye in the first round, and then they got served up Ohio State as their first game. It's like, you were talking smack all year long regarding Ohio State and talking about, they laid off our receivers, and that's the only reason they could cover us. That was a beat down. That was a severe beat down. Severe.
The look on Dan Lanning's face when it was 34-0, and he was just standing there like he had been in Vietnam and was staring off in the distance, like, oh, dude, I was like, dude, he's gonna have to go to a survivors meeting. Jesus Christ! He doesn't even know what's going on.
I mean, the only one that seemed like the last two games they seemed to take us serious, but those first two games, I think Tennessee thought they were going to come in and whip our ass. All of their fans thought that, because they traveled like 40,000 people to Ohio Stadium, and we're calling it Neyland North, and it's like, you're not ready for this. You don't walk in like you're playing Purdue or you're playing like Vanderbilt or something like that. This is the Ohio State University. Don't.
They released like plans online of exactly how they were going to tear down the goalpost and take them to the Olentangy. I told somebody, I'm like, I don't know if you think in the city of Columbus you would have ever got any of that fucking field goal thing out of the stadium, but the Columbus City Police would have just locked it off and been like, take them, get them done. Like, they would have never made it out of the stadium, dude. There would have been a full-on riot. Like they thought they were just going to march it out of the stadium to the Olentangy. Like, dude, you wouldn't have made it 2 blocks.
No.
Like, all of campus would have emptied out on you.
Yeah. You see what happens when you try to plant a flag in our stadium. You're not taking the goalpost down.
Jack Sawyer was ready to fight the entire stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Which was I told somebody, like, they were like, oh no, man, this seems like an overreaction. I said, no, fuck that. That's he's supposed to have that reaction. Everybody else should have had that reaction too. Like,
My question to you is, do you think any of these receivers that came in are going to play any kind of significant role this year? Is there any others? I mean, anyone that you think like coming in as a freshman that might see some significant time?
I mean, like, I think Mylan Graham's not a freshman, but like, I think Mylan Graham is he's gonna step up.
I mean, we'll call him a new player. Yeah, he's not a
Yeah.
freshman, but yeah.
I mean, he came in late last year, so you know what I'm saying. He didn't necessarily he didn't get spring last year and shit. But I think Quincy Porter. I think Quincy Porter is going to be the guy. But I mean, all those kids are good, dude. Des Jones, like the kid that played Mansfield, Bob Penn Miller, like, dude, that kid is like, he's only been playing wide receiver for like a year or a year and a half. Like, he played quarterback over in Mansfield, and literally Brian Hartline saw him like learn receiver, and he offered him. I'm like, well, I trust that man. That man's been the best wide receiver recruiter in the last 10 years. I think he knows what he's talking about.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. But looking at that 2025 class, it was a 4th ranked class. You mentioned Tavian Sinclair already, Quincy Porter, Carter Lowe. Not sure we're going to see him next year. He might play some backup role at the tackle position, but he's certainly the future of that position. Fahim Delane, you already mentioned, Riley Pettijohn, Zion Grady.
Zion Grady thinks going to be good. I think who's the other one with Zion Grady?
Edge rusher?
Yeah.
Jaquez
Carter.
I
think Jaquez Carter is going to be serious business.
Was he in that 2025 class? I think he might have. I don't think so.
I thought Jaquez Carter was. Yeah.
Wait. Let's look at the transfer. Eli Brickhandler, great name. Never going to see a snap, but great name. Yeah. Bo Atkinson.
Yeah, I don't think he was in the transfer. I think he was in the 25 class. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, I don't see defensive line, Trajan Odom. That's a tackle, though. Oh, there we go. I see.
Yeah, Jaquez Carter, 25-26. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Number 91.
41st Florida kid. So 46th recruit in the state of Florida. And 41 at that position. So, you know.
I think he's got a motor on him, man. I watched the tape on him, and he looks scary. He looks scary. They were telling you, there was people saying he was coming up in spring ball. He was coming up, so.
I don't know. I think Larry Johnson's going to pick some. He's getting a bad rap on recruiting right now, and it's like, he's still recruiting at a high level. And now we're going to potentially flip this kid from Oregon. He's at least coming to visit in August.
Well, I think everybody forgets what recruiting's been like the last couple of years, especially with Justin Fry. Like, no knock on Justin Fry, what he did last year or anything. I don't think he was all that great. Like, I think a lot of it had to do with Chip Kelly calling the right play scheme for the offensive line and not the offensive line doing all the heavy lifting. But like, he also only recruited 2 offensive linemen every fucking year.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Tyler Bowen came in and in a month and a half had 3 hitters. Like, so what? Like, it's not that hard. It can be done. It's like, we shouldn't have to go recruit. We shouldn't have to go get 3 or 4 like alignment and then 3 out of the portal to make up for the 3 years.
And we're not done yet. We're going to pick up another offensive lineman or 2, and it could be Felix Ojo. Who knows?
I hope it's Felix Ojo. Shit. Like, I'm telling you, like, I also hope we get the kid Tyler Atkinson.
Yeah,
man, that Tyler Atkinson kid, he's good, dude.
I think those are 2 realistic, potentials. I mean, and they just re-ranked people. Ojo is number 5. Now they got him like 100% commit to Texas. He's not commit, but crystal ball.
Oh yeah, crystal ball. Yeah.
I don't know that that's a guarantee in my mind. But Darius Gray is another one that I think they've got a good shot at. Kid from where the hell did he go? From Richmond, Virginia, and
how about us?
247 has him at like 98, a 5-star.
How about us pulling that kid out of Louisiana that was like lived next to LSU and went to the high school next to LSU and like literally, God, what was his name? He just committed like a month ago.
Committed to LSU.
No, he committed to us. He was from Louisiana. Like went to the Catholic high school right down the road from LSU, and like he committed to us.
I don't know. It looks like we're going to get Braylon Womack though. That's another one.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. Braylon, is he
the
from
number
Louisiana?
one safety in? Yeah. He's from Flowood, Missouri.
Okay, so there has to be. Is there one from Louisiana
then?
Or one that's already committed? I can't remember his name. I don't know. I know Braylon Womack, but like, yeah, because we might end up with like the number 1, 2, and like 7th safety in the class. Like Matt Guerrero is on fire, dude.
Oh, for sure. Tristan Keys, LSU. Lamar Brown, defensive line, LSU. Number 1 in position, number 1 at state. That'd have been a nice pickup. Trying to see people that are shown towards LSU, but I don't.
No, I mean he committed to us, so like, 26.
If you're looking at that class in particular, is that what you're saying? That already have committed for 2026?
Yeah, for 2020. Yeah, he already committed for 2026. He committed. Man, it was just recently.
All right, I'll tell you who we got signed in that's committed. That's the 26 class. Hold on, I gotta get the 25 class pulled up.
No, he just committed for the 26 class because the 25 class is done. Let's see, we got Chris Henry Jr., Blaine Bradford. That's who it was, Blaine Bradford.
Oh yeah.
Blaine Bradford. Yeah, he's like, I mean, he literally like went to the high school down the road from LSU. Like it was like a super pipeline for LSU, and like he.
Yeah, you're right. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yeah.
Nobody thought he was going to come, and like all of a sudden he just like flipped one day. Was like going to Ohio State. Like what?
And he's number 2 at that position. Womack is number 1. So to get the top 2 safeties, and the secondary is already in such great shape. And the recruiting, Tyler Bowen's proven it. So it's just, will Larry Johnson come through in the end and then picking up another quarterback? And I think that class is going to be solid. I really believe they're going to pick up another offensive lineman or 2. I feel good about, where they're at with running backs. They're probably going to get Favor Akey, I would assume. But then there's another running back in there. They're probably looking at potentially 2. But
I'm happy they got like Sam Greer and Maxwell Riley. He's from Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Like
solid players from the state of Ohio.
I get through CJ Senna too. CJ Senna.
And Jordan Thomas.
Jordan Thomas. I think it's great that we got Caden Dixon Wyatt because that definitely shores up. That was like the one thing where I was like, if we don't get Caden Dixon Wyatt, I don't know. Chris Henry might be shaky, but
he's moved up quite a bit. I mean, to almost a 5-star. He's a 4-star still, but
because Chris Henry Jr.'s not playing this year, so it's like
right.
He's
number
carrying the whole
5
team now.
In that position,
right?
So we got Tristan Keys, Darian Morgan, this Calvin Russell, who's not committed yet, and then our 2 guys, Chris Henry at 4, Caden Dixon Wyatt at 5. And then the kid from Texas, a little further down the rankings, Jaden Ricketts is 36, at the position, still top 300 player. But the white kid from Texas, I'm trying to think of his name at receiver.
From this
Boyd.
year?
Brock
Boyd.
Brock Boyd looked amazing. I've seen some film on him. He looks really, really good. So, another solid recruiting effort by the secondary, by the wide receivers, by the running backs room. I feel confident there. The offensive line and defensive line is going to come together. It just continues on. So, Brock Boyd, 108th at his position and 98th in the state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny. You were talking about being a fan for a long time at the beginning of the show, and literally, you're the only person that I've ever been to an actual Ohio State game with.
Is that right?
Yeah. The Wyoming game we went and saw. the Stanley Jackson and what was his name? It was the other Joe Germain game, like where they were 52-0. It was like one of the last shutouts for a long time, and that's the one you didn't see, huh?
Who'd they play again?
Wyoming.
Okay.
Yep. I got because I've only ever been to spring games otherwise.
Right.
I've gone to a bunch of spring games, but like it's the only game I've ever been to, and I went it with you. So I thought that was cool. Yeah,
got to get a couple of those early season games in there every year.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go down. Like it's fun. Like I don't know. Like I remember going. Like I remember like every time I go to the spring game, I'm just like, this is fucking amazing, dude. Like I love it in here. Like it's awesome down there. That's a lot of people, though. I mean, I think people grossly underestimate how much 100,000 people in one spot is. It's a mass of people.
Population of Marion, Wyandotte, Morrow, and Crawford County all in one stadium.
Oh, right. All in like 1 mile area.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Man, that's awesome. Geez, what else we got going? What do you think? I had a question, man. Golly. Oh, I had such a question and I forgot it. What do you think about the rule changes coming up?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm familiar with the one rule change that Ohio State was responsible for getting implemented. And that would be, you can't.
Is that the Dan Lanning rule thing?
The Dan Lanning rule, yeah, but kind of
like the college football playoff changes that they're making.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the way they seeded it last year did not make a lot of sense. Ohio State had the hardest road, and they were ranked ahead of a lot of those teams. We've got a Boise State getting a bye and Arizona State getting a bye. Those teams didn't have any business being in there. They should have been playing number one. So when they're giving people byes, I love it. And I think the idea of the SEC and the Big Ten, getting multiple teams in, I think makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
And basing it on rankings. Ohio State's won the last 2 times they've had a format change, so hopefully this one's significant enough.
Right. Well, so look, last year, like, would you have put in Alabama over Boise State?
Yes.
Like, if we take out Boise State now, okay.
Yes.
Even though Alabama shit the bed against the Oklahoma.
Yeah,
that's a weird one. Like, dude, how you have one of the fastest quarterbacks in college football and the second best receiver, and you can score 6 points,
right?
Or 3 points. Like, come on, man, you got to do
I don't know. I'm not sold on Washington's old coach down there yet.
Taylor DeBoer. I never was, dude. I was like, I didn't think he was that good of a coach, especially to get the Alabama job.
Right.
Well, you're gonna follow Nick Saban? Like, those are fucking shoes to fill, kid. Man. Especially those people down there, they're like up here. They don't play about that shit. Like,
no.
You will get lynched down there.
Southern football is serious business to these people.
They're down there killing trees and all kinds of shit. They don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it was serious to Tennessee, but look what happened to them. I do remember a time when Tennessee they were the shit, man. They were amazing back in the late 90s, but that day is gone. I don't really see them being a top tier. They might be a mid tier, like a 15 to 8 ranked team, And Georgia had a little drop off. I think they'll be back. I don't know. And you talk about that comparison with how people see Ryan Day, kind of putting a bow around the whole thing. Kirby Smart had not beaten Alabama, had not been to the playoffs, had not won the SEC. First 6 years, he was having all those same exact challenges and issues, but had a great team, and all of a sudden broke through that. And that's kind of what Ryan Day did. So to get that, Michigan monkey off his back this year, and one more, national championship under his belt. He's a young coach. We're looking at one of the Ohio State greats. I mean, Urban only won one national championship. I know he's won in the SEC, but
even though he should have won, that 15 team should have won, dude. Like, if you make one better decision, that whole season goes better. You just don't appoint Ed Warner your fucking offensive coordinator. Like,
Although the one that was undefeated that couldn't get it because of
Oh
tattoo
yeah,
game.
2012. Yeah, like yeah, the one because we wouldn't take a bowl ban when it didn't fucking matter.
Right.
Like we could take a bowl ban this year and we're gonna have Urban Meyer next year. It's not gonna matter.
Yeah.
No, we're not
Like,
gonna do it. Like,
oh, it's a big scandal, tattoos and getting merchandise, giving
people,
merchandise for tattoos. It's like, I'm kind of a big believer. We do have to get a handle on NIL. It's a little out of control, but I believe that's coming. Right now it's just kind of the Wild West. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Michigan. I think it's already happening. I think if you look at what is their recruiting ranking, it was horrid the last time I saw.
yeah, it's like it went up and then it went way back down. Like
it was in the 50s the last time I looked.
And this whole thing, listen, everybody's like, I can't believe Bryce Underwood would go there and they're going to get the hammer. I'm like, that kid made the smart financial move for himself. I'm going to go get $10 million and they're going to get the hammer and I'm going to be allowed to transfer. I'll go get another 10 million. Like, he's going to go just do something that Nico couldn't do, like by being a whiny fucking little girl. He caught the right financial decision. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, bet.
Now, are we going to face that? I will tell you, he was a good player. He was probably the only thing keeping Tennessee in that game last year. So he's going to be playing for UCLA. But I don't think UCLA has the same pieces as Tennessee. They go on about they didn't have the running back. But it's like, look, man, you go to a second string running back, you got to be able to pull a game out. Not the other team's up like 40-0 or whatever it was. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, like, yeah, I think that was the one thing, like, Josh Heupel had holding the kind of the glue together, but like, I mean, they didn't have any real receivers. They had that square white kid, and like, they had the running back was really good, but then he went out. Like, so it's like, and then we cracked Nico's helmet not once but twice. Like, dude, if we cracked your helmet twice, like, you're gonna be gun shy for sure. I mean, like if he kept him in that game, like you look back and you're like, oh, dude, he only threw for 100 yards. Like that dude was supposed to be an assassin.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Like, and you look back at the records, like, dude, 100 yards? Like, that dude was supposed to be like the next coming of Peyton Manning down there.
Not only that, but you probably have like systematic problems in your program if you're getting issues with, your quarterback saying, I want more money or I'm leaving. And you probably have some institutional type issues there in your program.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because that's the thing. If you bow down to that one dude, then you have everybody to the third string right tackle coming to your office like, well, listen, I played good in this one game last year, bro. What's up? Like, yeah. Like, and I don't know, like Josh Heupel was in a shitty spot, but like the kid already got paid an exorbitant amount of money until Bryce Underwood. He was like the golden child of getting paid, and then all of a sudden, like he wants more money. Like, dude, you didn't do anything. Like when it came down to it, you went up against the team you were supposed to, like, you all said you were going to beat and you got your ass whooped. like you don't deserve more money at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to see who comes on in the end this year, man. I think Ohio State could be there. I think Alabama could be in it. I don't know if they're ready for a deep run. Notre Dame and Texas, those three teams that kind of went deep last year. I kind of see that a very similar top three. I think those are the three best teams in Georgia potentially. Those four teams. After that, it's a big drop off in my mind.
It is a big drop off. Georgia, I think, is kind of on the decline. Like they still have some stuff, but like Kirby's got so many crazy culture problems down there with kids. It's like, dude, I don't know, man. You can get your fucking shipping order down there, bud.
Oh yeah, people get arrested quite often. Yeah.
Like, so who would you take? Like, if you take Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, or the field, who are you taking? Taking those three teams?
I'm taking those three teams.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm not taking the field.
And listen.
I mean, somebody will come up and surprise us this year and you won't expect it. I don't know who that is. I don't think it's somebody out of the Big Ten. And Penn State could be there very easily. They have a good team, but I don't. Are they getting over the Michigan hump? Maybe. I don't think they're getting over the Ohio State hump this year.
They don't have Abdul Carter. Like, dude, they don't have another Abdul Carter hanging out. So, like,
right.
And that dude was a terrorist. So you don't have him. Like, I don't know, man. You might have a good defense, but it's not that good. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Now, they do have a quality defensive end, but I don't think he's Abdul Carter.
Yeah, he's not Abdul Carter. He's not time, whatever. What Abdul Carter get top 6, top 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Yeah. Yeah, no,
That's cool, man. It's been great talking to you about this stuff.
absolutely, dude. I don't ever get to do this a lot anymore. So like, it's literally like I've talked about everything else, but I get to talk about. I started this podcast so I just like talk about the stuff that I like. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've just been interesting. I've been just been like, literally, like, just like interviewing interesting people and talking about stuff. Like I interviewed like an ex wrestler and like these lesbian streamers that are like a couple that are friends of mine. Like, and then just like the top 10 show. Like every week we just like pick something else and like have a conversation about it. Like, and we all make top 10 lists and we just, we have different people. We had Chris Wilds come on.
Who came on?
Chris Wilds.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember Chris.
Yeah, like I was talking, and we was talking about the alumni club, and I was like, my uncle's probably in that. And he was like, "Who's your uncle?" I said, "Wayne Rowe." He said, "No way, that's your uncle?" I said, "Yeah, dude, it's my dad's brother." He's like, "No shit." I was like, "Dude, you know my name's Rowe. Like, you know my last name. Like, what the hell?"
Yeah, he's definitely a big Ohio State enthusiast. That's
I do a lot of stuff for like talk to the OHI podcast. I've helped them out. I made printed some shirts for them before, and you know what I'm saying. Chris was on a couple weeks ago. He was on the top 10 show. We did top 10 movies or something like that, or we had top 10 sports movies. That's what we did
of all time.
Yeah.
So what was the consensus?
There was not really a consensus. Like we were the one we were the closest on, I think, was probably like wrestlers and artists. Like when we did like top 10 artists, we were pretty close on like the top 3 or 4, and wrestlers I wasn't, because I don't like wrestling, but they were all gung ho about wrestling, and I made a list just to piss people off. But
same, I couldn't wrestling. I mean, I could probably name people all time like Hulk Hogan and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
but movies, that's kind of tough, man. That's because it's subjective, or sports movies even, because from the era, like I always loved Rudy. I always thought that was really inspirational.
Yeah, like let's see, like I'll pull up my list. Like I tell you, like because I keep a list just because people always ask, and I'm like, hold on, like I have these things. So yeah, my top 10 sports movies. So mine was okay. So here's my top 10: Goon, Rocky 4. Because I don't like any of the Rockies. This Rocky 4 just is like the epitome of Rocky to me. Hoosiers.
Rocky 4 is the one with the Russian, right?
Yeah. That's Ivan Drago. Yeah.
I get that.
Hoosiers, which I caught so much flack for it being so low. And I'm like, dude, it just doesn't hold up for me. Dude, like, because Sean and Chris are a little bit older than me. I'm like, dude, it just didn't. Basketball movies don't hold up well. And I'm like 5 years younger than you guys. So like, it definitely didn't hold up well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't for me.
Right.
And then I said Happy Gilmore.
Okay, I wouldn't have thought of that one, but yeah.
Yeah, we get out of the box sometimes and things like people say something like, "Oh shit, I didn't think of that." Dodgeball.
I wouldn't have thought of that one as a sports movie, but yeah, great movies.
Well, we're like, well, does that count? I'm like, yeah. White Men Can't Jump.
Good one.
A League of Their Own.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The one basketball movie that does hold it for me is Blue Chips. And I caught flack for this too, but I'm like, dude, I went to the movie theater and saw the movies. Nick Nolte and fucking Shaq and Penny Hardaway, and like he plays like Bobby Knight essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay,
it was good. Major League,
yeah,
and then Moneyball.
Okay, no Longest Yard in there, huh?
No, listen, I'm not. We talked about The Longest Yard. It came up on the show. You have to rewatch it. It's on the channel. We're literally, Jerry Maguire was mentioned too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but like,
Jeremy
yeah, like we talked about a bunch of those. Like, what we do is like when we'll each say our thing, and like usually we'll present like an argument, like because we don't set forth a criteria. It's whatever your criteria is. So like part of your argument is like, well, I judged it on these merits. You know what I'm saying? And like,
well, so, yeah, because you've got a lot of different movies on your list there, so that kind of makes sense, man.
Yeah. So a lot of it, sometimes it's just like, you know, because we did like top 10 movies of all time. We did like top 10 bands or artists of all time. You know, like it's things that are very subjective, but like it's good to hear other people's arguments for them and stuff. And all the people that show up in the chat always have like, I didn't think that was going to happen. Like we're going to do a top 10 show. And like, as soon as we just started the first one, every person in the chat had like their own list. So it's this whole debate of like people saying stuff in the chat and back and forth. And like, we talk about a lot of stuff, and then it gets to the honorable mention stuff, and we talk about all those things and just like all these other movies, and it turns into other categories, and that's usually how we find what we're going to do for the next week. You know what
Love
I'm
the
saying?
format, man. Yeah, I'll come on again sometime. I got to roll now, but yeah, love to come on again sometime. You know, if you maybe when you guys get together and record live, maybe I'll be able to pull that off. But look forward to watching.
It's Wednesdays at 8 is the top 10 show.
All right,
good deal. Awesome. Well, it was great talking to you, man. And as always, if anybody fucking shouts out OH, you shout out IO, and just be nice to people, man. All right. So, one more time, Wayne. OH.
IO.
All right, buddy. We're out.
Go Bucks.